Ah, hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Wing Chun? How's it going? Hey, Benjamin. Glad you could join. Hey, Christina. Glad you're joining the live stream. Hey, Neko. It is story time. What's up, Lush? Glad you could join. Hey, Sunny Side Up. How are you doing? Hey, Rude Noise. What's up, Nikki? How was your guys' Halloween? Am I late? Am I a bit late? Nah, couldn't be. I'm never late. Do. All right. Sorry, getting some stuff ready. You were successful in eating absolutely no candy. Oh, good job. Was it hard? Did you try really hard not to? Did you have a lot of candy, but you chose not to, or? All right. You know what I've been playing with? This AI stuff is getting really good. Okay. So Google has something called Notebook LM, and you can put your like PDFs or like your research material sources on it. Okay, and then you can like ask questions about it, and it'll read through it and it'll like answer questions for you. You can summarize the text. You know what else it can do? This is amazing. It can create like a kind of a podcast of your sources, right? So yeah, so I put in one of my PDFs that I use for research, and I asked it to make like a podcast for me. So it made like an audio podcast of like 22 minutes. Yeah, and it's two people talking, and it sounds really good. It sounds like real people. You can tell sometimes that it's not, because it has like some audio artifacts, but it sounds pretty good. Do you want to hear? Hold on. I had story time on Halloween. Yeah. All right, so this is the audio that it generated. Okay. It's not real people, okay? It's two people talking, but it's not real. Listen.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, so today we're going way back to Japan.
Okay.
Between the 10th and 14th centuries.
Right.
And we're going to be looking at something that you might not think is that interesting.
Okay.
But I promise you it's going to be a fascinating topic. We are going to be talking about wet nurses.
Wet nurses.
Yeah.
Okay, so like
in Japan.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So
what? Right? That's pretty amazing. Maybe I'll just keep doing this. I could theoretically make a fake podcast. I don't think so. Now these people have like no personality, okay? But like maybe if I didn't have time to read, I'll just listen to it. And the problem is like sometimes you get hallucinations. You hate this so much? Why? I don't think you can profit from this. Yeah. But hey, you can use it to do some research. However, the problem is, it's not always accurate. Okay, so I listened to it for a while, and I noticed it made some mistakes. Okay, so it was either, yeah, it was like interpreting the text incorrectly, so you can't fully trust it. So that's a problem. Maybe in the future it gets better. It's been forever now. I hope he's all right. Wait, I'm live, right? Am I not live? Hello? Hello, hello? Pretty sure I'm live. Yeah, I should be. Anyways. I love. I also love. I am live and love. You see an AI rendering of Lynn, but not Lynn. Gotcha. YouTube didn't send you a notification. Okay. Yeah. No, what was I talking about? Yeah, so it's not perfectly accurate yet. However, it sounds really, really good. It sounds like two people talking. I think the problem is right now, like, I noticed that when one person talks, the other person has to respond too. So it'd be like, yeah, so one person would say a sentence, and the other person would say a sentence or a sound or a word, and then the other person would talk. It goes back and forth like that. I think they need to change that somehow. Like during a conversation, sometimes one person talks and then pauses a little bit and then continues talking. And I don't think it does that podcast. It must be cold there? Not really. It's a bit warm right now. It's cooler than summer. All right. Wordo. This is my human avatar, yes. I need to update the design. Make it look a little better. Hold on. How do I do this? Live. Window capture. All right. Let's punch this out. 2 minutes. Ah, fuck. Oh, no. Licky. Nope. L. Flitty. Flitty. Glitty. Glitz. Glite. I and Y. I and Y. I yield. I and Y. Hilly. Y. What word has I and Y? Likely. Flighty. Any. I and Y. And Y is not at the end. Illy. I love you. Illin. Illing. What is this word? Oh no. It must be a word that I know, right? It can't be like a really hard word. It's a 5-letter word. Illic. Illin. Chillin. FLY. Flying. Flying. Shit. Lion. Okay. Y. N. Nylon. Nylon. Mylar. Oh, God. What is this word? Nihilist. Niven. Nilin. Vinyl. Wait, no, vinyl. Ah, yeah. Woof. Okay. How is flying a word? Flying is a word. That's right. Mm. Mm. How would I change my face? Make it younger. All right. That was easy. So easy. Nylon. Illin is a word. What does illin mean? Shell, vanity, outfit, ID, wardrobe, can't, console, ego, stock, character, being, chest, self, provision, were, furnish. Okay. Can't, ID, were, can't, were. Can't, were. These both can have an apostrophe. Nope, but not the others, I think. Wardrobe, furnish, outfit, and provision, I think. No? Wait. ID were self character. Stock. Wait. Oh, fuck. Provision, stock, wardrobe, stock, outfit. Ah, okay. Okay, good. Ego, id, self, and being. Character. Being. Oof. I can see either one. No! No! Being. Self character being ego. Oh no. Were, vanity, wardrobe. Yeah, self character being ego. Ego is the self character. Shell being chest. All right. Oh no. Console, a vanity, a wardrobe, a chest. All right. Wardrobe, vanity, a chest, and a console, a shell, a console. Right? Is it? Huh. All right. We're back here then. Self, character, being, ego. Were, shell, were, can't, ID. Shell, were. Can't ID. Wait, shell, can't, were, ID. What does that mean? He's gonna do it. Ah! Thank God. What is this? Words with apostrophes. Oh, I'm so dumb. I did. I'd. Shill. Oh. Pfft. Okay. I knew that. All right. Let's do it quick, okay? Definition. ID. Ego. Self. Plain. Computer. Screen. Light. Ooh. Sun. Bright. Night. Moon. Cloud. White. Yellow. Curtain. Wind. Oh, weather. Hurricane. Gust. Tornado. Speed. Fast. Quick. Immediate. Run. Rush. Speedy. Hurry. Now. Quickly. Meth. Rapid. Distance. Velocity. Ooh. The acceleration. Accelerate. Okay. Movement. Move. Immediate. Probably not drugs. Probably not. We got speed, velocity. We got acceleration. What else is there? Fast, quick. Flux. Time. Moment. Span. Quickness. Gas. Press. Pedal. Zoom. Car. Force. Mass. Vector. Velocity. Wheel. Race. Engine. Rocket. No. Time we tried run. Marathon. Tire. No. Speed. Velocity. Land. Velocity. Things run fast. Fast. Quickly. Movement we tried turn. Oh. Left. Right. Twirl. Pass. Speedometer. Okay. Odometer. Smoke. Measure. What is Lehman's? Lemons. Shift. Gear. Limit. Race. Velocity. Trip. Velocity. Speed. Acceleration. Lehman's is a famous racetrack. Oh, I wouldn't know that. Raced. Tournament. Track. Oh, track. Train. Marathon we tried. Train. Derail. Signal. Merge. Freeway. Highway. Crash. Casualty. Wow. Accident. Explosion. Oh, getting dark here. Okay, velocity. What about physics? Spin. Oh, spin. Wait, we tried that, right? Or did we not? Oh, we tried turn. Spinning. Rims. Fuel. Gas. Did we try that? Fumes. Velocity. Long. Far. Attack. Lift. Electricity. Propel. Ooh. Propulsion. Okay. Maybe we're on the wrong track. Acceleration, speed, velocity. Motion. Pendulum. Pendulum. Oh. Balls. Rotate. Spin. Revolve. Rotation. Momentum. I like that. Conservation. Momentum. Velocity. Conservation. Velocity. Speed. Round. Match. Kinetic. I like that. What is this word? Accelerate. We try that, right? Heat. Potential. Burn. Time we tried, I think. Yep. Timing. Start. Finish. End. Energy. I like that. Not force or energy. Velocity. Second. Speed. Eat. Win. Contest. Velocity, speed, acceleration. Place. Trophy. Rotational. Transfer. Convection. Jet. Damn it. Radiation. Direction. Oh, direction. Point. Position. Global. System. Direction. Sounds like a vector to me. Finish, we tried. Drive. Goal. Towards. Go. Reach. Direction. Horizon. Flag. Finish line. Backwards. Skid. Back. Backwards. Backwards. Forwards. Reverse. What? Backwards is pretty high. Direction. Side. Sideways. Oh, sideways. Sides. Side. Sideways. Flip. Over. Roll. Turn. Itinerary? Itinerary. Roll cage. Flip over sideways. Knock. Knock over. Down. Out. Sideways. Top. Above. Bottom. Below. Forwards, backwards, sideways. How many other directions can we be knocked around? Back, forward, up, fly, buoyancy, gravity. Push. Knocked sideways. Center. Middle way. Friction. Thinking back to our physics classes, are we? Centrifuge. We got rotational force. We did rotational, right? Rotational. Sideways. Forward, backwards, up, lift. Hill? Wait, hill? Go up a mountain? Lift? Hillside? Diagonal? Ramp. Oh. Resistance. A ramp. Uphill. Downhill. Side hill. That's a word? Back hill. No. Front hill. Okay. Slope. That sounds like a good one. Oh, slope. Angle. Triangle. Upward. Downward. Downwards. Wedge. Parabola. Oh, hyperbola. Wait, that's a word. Hyperbola. Okay. We had limit. Slide. A slope. Sideways. Slope. Hill. A slope. A ramp. Incline. A wedge. Windmill. Incline. Angle. Decline. Nope. Drop. Ah, slope is so close. A sideways slope? A side slope? A fall? A roll? We did track. Yeah. Rise. Arise. Line. Point. Intersect. Roller coaster. Okay. Steps. A wave. Cosine. Sine. Tangent. Damn it. Parallel. Gravity, we tried. Slope. Slope. Sideways. And velocity. Chaos. Slope. Downwards. Downwards. Traction. Friction. Heat. Descent. Descend. I think push pull we tried. Climb. Yep. Yep. Slope. Trend. Oh. Graph. Chart. Drift. Oh. Jerk. Pie. Bar. Nope. Slope. Sideways. Points. Metal. Legend. What? What? Curve. Ah! Curve. Cow juice. Thank you so much. Good job. Should have guessed. Curve. Oh my god. It's always so obvious. I don't know why we didn't try that. All right. Nice job, guys. All right. Your reward is I get to eat food. Check it out. Look. Can you tell what it is? It's supposed to be 2 little bunnies. Some marshmallow bunnies. If you can see, there's a it's got 2 eyes, 2 eyeballs. If you can see it. Maybe I should take it out. Okay. Are they bunny flavored? I hope so. It's got a little bunny design on it, but I don't think you can see it very well. Yeah, but look. See? Eyeballs. Hello. I'm gonna be eaten. I'll eat it head first. You know what? Whole body. Oh. Oh no, it's not a marshmallow. It's filled with something. With what? Some kind of filling. Tastes familiar. What can it be? It's not money. Some kind of sweet filling. This is not bad. It's a little bit sweet. Just kind of. Not bad. You glad the packaging has no words on it? Yeah. Some kind of sweet, okay? It's not bad. Yeah, it's not marshmallow. It's not mochi either. It's like a little bit harder than mochi. It's all right. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6.1. All right. I have this. Yeah. It's like an empty cannoli. It's a sweet taco. I think it's sweet. It looks sweet. All right. Looks crunchy. Let's see it. Let's do it. Oh. It's very ginger flavor. Oh. It's crunchy. Ginger flavor. It's very strong ginger flavor. It is crunchy. It's like a 7.5 on the crunchiness scale. However, I'm gonna have to rate it a 6.5. Okay, not that good. Not too good. Grab the other bunny, put it in the middle. Oh, it's too sweet. All right. Last one, we have this. Some kind of rice cracker, I think. Seems like. Looks like. Why, yes, you are. Oops. Ooh. Okay. Hold on. Smells good. It smells savory. It smells like soy sauce. Mmm. Yeah, it has a little bit of seasoning on it. A little bit sweet. A little bit salty. A lot of soy sauce. That's a 9 out of 10 crunch right there. Okay, it's really good. It's like an 8.6. Not bad. All right. Now you gotta get snacks. Do it. All right. That's some good stuff. Get one of those pecan Snickers. They have those. I have some almond Snickers. I love almond. I think almonds and peanuts are my top nuts. I love those nuts in my mouth. All right. So what happened last week? So last week, Zhou Botong, he's telling Guo Jing a story about his martial brother Wang Chongyang. Okay. Remember, Wang Chongyang faked his death to trick those who would try to steal the 9-yin manual, right? And as they were doing his funeral, his coffin is right there. Ouyang Feng comes in to try to steal the 9-yin manual and proceeded to get his ass handed to him. And he ran away, okay? Because Wang Chongyang just pretended to die. He broke out of his freaking coffin and just destroyed this guy. And Ouyang Feng got so injured that he couldn't use his toad skill anymore, or for a long time, okay? I guess his martial arts is toad related. And he kind of stayed out of the spotlight for years. Afterwards, Wang Chongyang actually did die for realsies. So, and then Zhou Botong, he tells a story of how he lost the 9-yin manual. Okay, so he had the second volume of the 9-yin manual, and long ago he visited the Peach Blossom Island and he met up with Huang Yaoxi and his wife. And the wife mentioned that she wanted to see the 9 yin manual. And it was okay. It was fine because she was not a martial artist. Okay, so she couldn't learn the martial arts in the manual anyways. She just was curious and she wanted to read it. With some convincing, Zhou Botong, he agreed. And he gave the manual to her. She sat under a tree and she read it twice. Okay. Afterwards, she closes it and then she tells him that it was a fake. She was like, it was just some common divination book. Okay. She even read it already as a kid. And she used to recite it all the time. And she proved it by reciting the entire book in front of Zhou Botong. And then that convinced Zhou Botong that it was a fake. And Zhou Botong, he got so mad, he ripped up the book and he left the island to find the real book. He thought that Ouyang Feng actually had stolen it because the couple suggested that he did. So Zhou Botong, he spends a couple of years training because he wasn't strong enough to beat Ouyang Feng. Of course, he was actually tricked. The wife was just really smart and had like the best memory ever. She just memorized the entire book, just reading it twice. And then she transcribed it from her memory. And that was how Huang Yaoshi gained possession of the 9 yin manual. Now, Zhou Botong, he finally talked to his martial brothers and they all agreed that he was tricked. And he got super mad, and he came back to confront Huang Yaoshi and the wife, but the wife had died. Okay? And what happened was when the 9 yin manual was stolen by Mei Xiaofeng and her husband, Huang Yaoshi's wife tried to transcribe the book from memory again, but it had been years, and she kind of struggled. Okay? And because of her exhaustion, she died during childbirth. And Huang Yaoshi, he blamed Zhou Botong for this. And he wanted him to hand over the first volume of the 9 yin manual so he could burn it over his wife's grave. Zhou Botong was like, no. So they fight. Zhou Botong had no chance. So he kind of hid in a cave. And he said if anyone came in, he would burn the first volume of the 9 yin manual too. And he's been staying there for 15 years. And he's telling Guo Jing this, and he says that he's been training while he was there. He's developed this martial arts where each of his arms and hands could move independently of each other. Okay, he called it the empty clarity fist, and seems to be pretty powerful. He teaches it to Guo Jing, who learns all 72 moves, and that's where we left off. How's that? Okay. All right. Two. All right, ready? This is chapter 17, part 2. So here he learned all 72 moves of the empty clarity fist. They practiced martial arts together, unaware of how many days passed. Though Guo Jing missed Huang Rong dearly, he had no way to search for her, and could only wait in frustration. Several times he tried to follow the mute servant delivering food to investigate, but Zhou Botong always stopped him. One afternoon, after lunch, Zhou Botong said, "You've learned the empty clarity fist completely. Now I can't throw you down anymore. Let's change it up and play a new game. Guo Jing laughed. Sure, what do you want to play? Zhou Tong replied. Let's have a 4-person fight. Guo Jing was confused. 4 people? Zhou Tong explained. Exactly. My left hand is one person, my right hand is another, and each of your hands is a person too. None of them will help the others. It'll be a 4-way free-for-all. Amused, Guo Jing replied. That sounds fun, but I don't know how to make each hand act independently. Zhou Tong replied. I'll teach you. But for now, let's start with 3-person sparring. So Zhou Tong split his focus, using each hand as if it were a separate fighter, facing off against Guo Jing. His left and right hands moved as if they were 2 different people, each using techniques without diminishing the overall skill level. Whenever his left hand overwhelmed Guo Jing, his right hand would intervene, and vice versa. As they fought in this 2-against-1 style, Guo Jing ended up holding the upper hand against one hand, but then facing interference from the other. Similarly, to the constantly shifting alliances of the 3 Kingdoms era. After a while, they stopped to rest. Guo Jing found the game highly entertaining and thought of Huang Rong, wishing she were there to play along. With 3 people, they could have had an all-out 6-sided battle. Zhou Tong, still eager, began teaching Guo Jing the technique of dual-handed sparring. This skill was even harder than the empty clarity fist. As the saying goes, the mind cannot serve 2 purposes at once. Practicing this skill started with drawing a square with the left hand and a circle with the right. Wait, can I do that? Wait. Oh, not bad, I think. All right. I can do the skill. You also tried it? Can you do it? Initially, Guo Jing's attempts either made both hands draw the same shape, or he ended up with neither a proper square nor a circle. However, after much effort, he finally understood the method. Able to freely make one hand draw a square and the other a circle, Zhou Tong was delighted and said, Without Chen Jinsec's inner skill training, allowing one mind to control inner and outer focuses, you wouldn't have picked up this skill so quickly. Now, try using Southern Mountain Fist with your left hand and Yue Maiden Sword with your right. Master Linfamy joins. Oh yeah. It's a 6-way fight now. Guo Jing knew these moves instinctively, having learned them from Nian Shiren and Han Xiaoying, so executing them separately required little thought, though using them with separate hands was very challenging. Zhou Tong, eager to start their 4-person sparring, taught him diligently. But how do you use 2 martial arts on either hand or either arm? I would assume that, most martial arts you have to use both hands for moves. Not understanding. Like some moves require both hands, right? Or legs. Zhou Tong, eager to start their 4-person sparring, taught him diligently. Within days, Guo Jing became adept at basic dual-handed combat. Zhou Tong exclaimed, Great! Now let's say your right hand and my left hand are on one side, while my right hand and your left are on the other. Let's see which side wins. Guo Jing, excited by the novelty, teamed his right hand with Zhou Botong's left, and sparred against his left hand and Zhou Botong's right. This was a style of fighting he'd never even imagined. As they sparred, Zhou Botong constantly offered tips on offensive and defensive techniques, which Guo Jing committed to memory. Zhou Botong just wanted to have fun, but in the process, Guo Jing ended up mastering a strange and unprecedented skill. One day, it suddenly occurred to Guo Jing, if I could make my legs fight separately, we'd have an 8-person brawl. How does that work? Your legs can't move the same as your hands. But he refrained from voicing this idea, knowing it would only cause trouble. A few more days passed, and one afternoon they tried 4-person sparring again. Zhou Botong was overjoyed, laughing as he fought. Guo Jing, despite his skill, was still young and found it difficult to control both hands individually. His left hand often came to aid his right whenever he faced danger. Zhou Botong's punches were incredibly fast, and Guo Jing soon lost the coordination for a 4-way fight, reverting to a 3-way struggle. However, by then he'd mastered this strange fighting style enough that his 2 hands could work together to match Zhou Botong's. Zhou Botong laughed heartily and said, "You didn't play by the rules." Suddenly, Guo Jing jumped back and stood there for a moment before exclaiming, "Big brother, I just thought of something." Zhou Botong asked, "What is it?" Guo Jing replied, "Your fists have completely different techniques in each hand, as if 2 people are attacking independently. In real combat, if you use this technique, it would be like fighting 2 against 1. This skill could be incredibly useful. Even though your internal strength doesn't double, having doubled the techniques would be a huge advantage." Well, he never thought about this? Zhou Botong had invented this dual-handed technique purely to relieve his boredom in the cave, and had never considered it could actually be used to win in combat. Guo Jing's insight made him rethink the entire technique. Running through the moves in his mind, he suddenly jumped up, rushed out of the cave, and started pacing back and forth, laughing uncontrollably. Guo Jing was alarmed, thinking his big brother had suddenly gone mad. Oh no, wait. He kept asking, "Big brother, what's wrong? Are you okay?" Zhou Botong didn't respond immediately, only laughed harder. After a while, he said, "Brother, I've left the cave. I'm not out here to relieve myself, but I'm out." Guo Jing replied, "Yes, I see that." Zhou Botong continued, "Now my martial arts are the best in the world. Why should I be afraid of Huang Yaoshi anymore? I'll wait for him to come here, and I'll beat him to a pulp." Guo Jing asked, "Are you sure you can defeat him?" Zhou Botong replied confidently, "My martial arts may still be a bit inferior, but now that I've mastered this dual-wielding technique, with 2 against 1, no one in the world can beat me. Huang Yaoshi, Hong Qigong, or Ouyang Feng, none of them can handle 2 mischiefs." Wait, but Huang Yaoshi can just stay far away and play his flute and just beat him, right? Like he did before. He needs to get to him first. Guo Jing realized this made sense and was genuinely happy for him. Zhou Botong added, "Brother, you've also fully grasped the key points of this technique. All you need to do now is practice, and in a few years, once you've mastered it as I have, your martial arts will have improved tremendously." They continued talking, full of joy. Previously, Zhou Botong had feared Huang Yaoshi coming to torment him, but now he eagerly anticipated a chance to test his newfound skills. He waited impatiently, casting frequent glances outside the cave, hoping Huang Yaoshi would arrive soon so he could have a good fight with him. By dinner time, the old servant arrived with food, and Zhou Botong grabbed him, saying, "Go call Huang Yaoshi. I'm waiting here. Tell him to come test my skills. The servant only shook his head. Zhou Botong then remembered. Oh, I forgot you're deaf and mute. Turning to Guo Jing, he added, Tonight, let's feast. He opened the food box, and Guo Jing immediately smelled a tantalizing aroma, different from the usual fare. Looking closer, he saw 2 side dishes and a large bowl of stewed chicken with mushrooms, his favorite. Realizing it had to be Hong Rong's doing, his heart began to race. Examining the other dishes, he found nothing unusual, until he noticed that one of the steamed buns had a faint gourd shape carved into it with a fingernail, a subtle mark easily missed. Sensing something was hidden inside, Guo Jing discreetly split the bun in half, revealing a wax pellet inside. Oh, what is it? Making sure Zhou Botong and the servant hadn't noticed, he slipped it into his clothes. Both of them ate the meal without really tasting it. Zhou Botong was busy celebrating his newfound invincibility by eating with one hand and shadowboxing with the other, while Guo Jing hurried through his food, eager to check the message in the wax pellet. Finally, when Zhou Botong finished his meal, even drinking the last drop of soup, and the old servant had packed up and left, Guo Jing quickly took out the wax pellet, broke it open, and found a note inside. It was indeed written by Hong Rong, saying, Brother Jing, don't worry. Father and I have reconciled. I'll take my time and ask him to release you. Wronger. Risky? What if he didn't notice the mark and ate the wax pellet? No. Oh well, you can digest that, right? Guo Jing, ecstatic, showed the note to Zhou Botong, who laughed and said, Ha 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 ha. With me here, it doesn't matter if he agrees or not. We'll make him let you go. If he refuses, I'll lock him up in this cave for 15 years. Oh, no, wait. Better not do that, or he might end up mastering this dual-handed technique in here, too. As night fell, Guo Jing sat down to meditate, though his mind kept drifting to Hong Rong, making it difficult to focus. After a long while, he managed to calm his thoughts, directing his energy to circulate through his body. But then he would have missed the message? Nah. Wouldn't be too bad. She's just saying, don't worry. After a long while, he managed to calm his thoughts, directing his energy to circulate through his body. An idea suddenly struck him. To fully master this dual-wielding technique, even his breathing and energy flow needed to work independently on each side. Using his fingers to block alternate nostrils, he began practicing several separate breathing patterns on each side, training his inner energy to circulate independently left and right. Guo Jing practiced for about an hour and felt some progress when he suddenly heard a sharp rustling sound. Opening his eyes, he saw in the darkness Zhou Botong's long hair and beard swirling as he practiced his martial arts. Guo Jing focused intently, noticing Zhou Botong's left hand performing the 72 moves of empty hands, while his right hand was executing another set of Qianzhen-style moves. Each punch and palm thrust, though slow, carried powerful gusts of wind, showcasing that within his soft movements was concealed tremendous strength. Guo Jing watched in awe. As Zhou Botong immersed himself in his moves and Guo Jing observed, Zhou Botong suddenly cried out, "Ah!" A loud smack followed, and a dark, long object flew from his side, striking a tree trunk in the distance. It looked like he had flung it aside in a hurry. Zhou Botong swayed, alarming Guo Jing, who quickly rushed over, asking, "Big brother, what's wrong?" Zhou Botong gasped, "I was bitten by a venomous snake. This is a disaster." Guo Jing grew even more alarmed and hurriedly supported Zhou Botong back to the cave, Zhou Botong tore off a piece of his clothing to wrap tightly around his thigh, hoping to slow the spread of the venom to his heart. Guojing took out his fire starter and ignited it. The sight shocked him. Zhou Botong's lower leg had swelled to more than twice its normal size. So fast. Zhou Botong murmured, "This highly venomous green viper isn't normally on this island. I don't know how it got here. I was focused on my punches and the snake wouldn't have gotten close, but I was distracted by using two techniques simultaneously. Ah!" Hearing Zhou Botong's voice trembling, Guojing knew the poison was spreading fast. Without thinking about his own safety, he immediately bent down and began sucking on the wound to draw out the poison. Zhou Botong, panicking, said, "No, you mustn't. This venom is no ordinary poison. If you ingest it, you'll die." But Guojing, focused solely on saving Zhou Botong's life, pressed down on his lower body and continued sucking the wound. Zhou Botong tried to push him away, but his entire body had become limp and weak, and soon he lost consciousness. Sup, Psyduck? You guessing two techniques simultaneously is weak to snake? Yeah. That's its counter. Guojing sucked out a good portion of the venom and spat it onto the ground. The strength of the poison diminished, and Zhou Botong's internal skill was profound enough to keep him alive, though he remained unconscious for about half an hour. When he finally awoke, he said in a weak voice, "Brother, it seems I'm on my way out, but finding such a loyal brother at the end of my life gives me great joy." Guojing, though he had only known Zhou Botong for a short time, felt they were kindred spirits, as if they had been close friends for decades. Seeing Zhou Botong on the verge of death, tears welled up in his eyes. Oh no, is he gonna die? Zhou Botong gave a faint smile and said, "The upper volume of the 9-yin manual is in a stone box buried beneath the dirt here. It should be yours, but since you've ingested the venom, your life won't be much longer either. At least we can accompany each other on the road to the afterlife. Maybe in the underworld, we can play at having 4 ghosts fighting. No, even better, 8 ghosts fighting. The big ghosts and small ghosts will be so baffled, it'll be hilarious." As he talked, Zhou Botong suddenly started laughing again. Guojing heard him say that he was about to die, but he himself felt no unusual effects from the poison. He immediately lit another fire starter to inspect Zhou Botong's wound. When it was about to extinguish, he grabbed the note Huang Rong had hidden in the bun, lighting it as well. He tried to find some dry branches or leaves outside the cave for more firewood, but it was summer and the grass was still damp. Desperate, he searched his belongings and found a small leather-like object. It was the skin pouch that had wrapped Mei Chao Feng's dagger. Without a second thought, he lit it and held it up to Zhou Botong's face to examine his expression. Under the dim flame, he saw that Zhou Botong's face had turned ashen, with a dark cloud hovering over his features, and his previously radiant face was now devoid of any vitality. Zhou Botong gave him a weak smile upon seeing the light. He looked at Guojing, puzzled, as Guojing showed no signs of poisoning. Then he suddenly noticed the piece Guojing was burning was covered with writing. Squinting at it, Zhou Botong quickly recognized the text as advanced martial techniques, the very 9-yin manual. He immediately put out the fire and asked, "Brother, did you ever take some sort of mystical antidote? Why is it that such a powerful snake venom doesn't harm you?" Guojing paused, recalling the giant viper's blood he drank from Elder Nen, and said, "I once drank the blood of a large viper. Perhaps it makes me immune to the poison." Wait, so he's burning the 9 yin manual? Zhou Botong, glancing at the burnt piece, said, "This is a treasure. Don't let it burn." His words trailed off as he fainted again. Guojing, anxious and heedless of treasures, urgently tried massaging his meridians to increase blood flow. But it had no effect. When he touched Zhou Botong's swollen leg, it was burning hot to the touch, having swollen even more. Zhou Botong mumbled, "Twin looms weaving, mandarin ducks longing to fly together." Guojing asked, "What are you saying?" Zhou Botong sighed. "Pity to be old and gray, before one's time. Pity." Seeing that Zhou Botong's thoughts were incoherent, Guojing grew increasingly desperate. He dashed out of the cave, climbed a tall tree, and shouted, "Wronger! Master Huang, please, help! Help!" But Peach Blossom Island spanned dozens of miles, and Huang Yaoshi's residence was too far to hear. Only his own echoed cries answered him from the valleys below. Feeling helpless, Guojing suddenly thought, "If the poison didn't harm me, maybe my blood has some anti-venom properties." Acting quickly, he found a large green ceramic bowl Zhou Botong used for tea, pulled out his dagger, and cut a gash in his left arm to let blood drip into the bowl. After a while, the blood clotted, so he cut again and let more blood flow. Supporting Zhou Botong's head on his lap, he pried open his mouth with one hand and carefully poured the bowl of blood into Zhou Botong's mouth with the other. Guojing had lost so much blood that, despite his robust constitution, he felt weak and limp. After giving Zhou Botong the blood, he leaned against the stone wall and drifted into a deep sleep. He didn't know how much time had passed when he suddenly felt someone bandaging the wound on his arm. Opening his eyes, he saw Zhou Botong, his long white beard nearly touching the ground. Delighted, Guojing exclaimed, You're all better." Zhou Botong replied, "Yes, I'm fine. Brother, you risked your life to save me, and the Grim Reaper had to give up in frustration." Yay. Not dead. All right. Let's take a 5-minute break. I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. Yay, he did not die. Good for him. Guojing looked at Zhou Botong's injured leg and saw that the dark swelling had receded, leaving only some redness and puffiness, which posed no real threat. That morning, the two sat quietly in meditation, restoring their energy. After lunch, Zhou Botong asked about the origin of the piece of human skin. Guojing thought for a moment and then recalled that his second master, Zhu Tong, had stolen it, along with the dagger, from Mei Chao Feng at Guiyun Manor. It's the skin of her husband. When he later examined it, he couldn't understand a single word of the text embroidered on it, so he had kept it in his pocket and forgotten about it. Zhou Botong pondered in silence, unable to fathom its purpose. Guojing asked, "Big brother, you called this a treasure. What exactly is it?" Zhou Botong replied, "I need to examine it closely to answer you, but since it came from Mei Chao Feng, it must have some significance." He took the piece of skin and began studying it. Back when Wang Chongyang acquired the 9 Yin manual, he had no selfish intent and only wanted to remove a great danger from the martial world. Therefore, his last will prohibited anyone from the sect from practicing the skills within the manual. Bound by his senior brother's wishes, Zhou Botong had never dared to go against this command. But he remembered Huang Yaoshi's wife's words. Just reading without practicing isn't really breaking the will. Thus, for 15 long years in the cave, with nothing better to do, he had read the upper volume of the 9 Yin manual so thoroughly he knew it by heart. The techniques in the upper volume primarily focused on Taoist internal cultivation, the principles of fist and sword techniques, but did not contain practical moves for defeating opponents. Without the practical applications from the lower volume, simply knowing the core theories was useless. During those 15 years, Zhou Botong had constantly pondered what mysteries might be contained in the lower volume. The moment he laid eyes on the piece of skin, he knew it had something to do with the Nine Yin manual. Examining it further, he confirmed that it indeed contained the lower volume's content, the very knowledge that had profoundly shaped his life. Zhou Botong looked up at the cave ceiling, torn and undecided. His passion for martial arts was so intense that seeing this manual, which was revered by all martial artists, stirred an uncontrollable desire to practice its techniques. He wants to practice it. Oh no. It wasn't for fame or revenge, nor for proving himself superior, but purely out of a deep, insatiable curiosity for martial arts. He desperately wanted to understand just how formidable these skills would be if mastered. Recalling the story of Huang Shang, who, after reading the Wangshou Dao Zhang's 5,481 volumes, meditated for over 40 years and finally developed techniques that could counter all schools, Zhou Botong marveled at the profound mysteries that the Nine Yin manual must contain. Even though the Black Wind Shuangsha had only obtained the lower volume, they were able to dominate the martial world with two techniques. If one could fully master both volumes, it was almost beyond imagination. However, he still couldn't defy his senior brother's last wishes. So after much internal debate, he sighed heavily, put this piece of skin in his robe, and went to sleep. He's pretty good. He decided not to do it. Upon waking, Zhou Botong used a tree branch to dig into the earth in the cave, intending to bury the piece of skin along with the upper volume. As he dug, he sighed repeatedly. Suddenly, he burst into laughter and shouted with joy. Ha 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 ha! That's it! That's the perfect solution! Guojing, puzzled, asked, Big brother, what brilliant idea did you have? Does he want Guojing to practice it? Zhou Botong continued to laugh without answering, and he had just thought of a clever plan. Guojing isn't a member of the Chenchen sect, so I can teach him all the techniques in the manual. Once he learns them, he can demonstrate everything to me, and that'll scratch this itch I can't reach. This way, I'm not violating my brother's final wish. No. Is Guojing going to be super powerful? He's going to be broken. He was about to explain this to Guojing, but then thought, he seems to dislike the Nine Yin manual, calling it an evil and sinister art. That's only because the Black Wind Shuangsha only learned the lower volume and didn't understand the foundational techniques for cultivating energy and internal strength in the upper volume, which led them to practice it incorrectly. I'll teach him without mentioning it's from the Nine Yin manual. Once he's fully mastered it, he'll be in for a big surprise. By then, these skills will be ingrained in him, and he won't be able to shake them off no matter how mad he gets. That'll be hilarious. He'll become Super Saiyan soon? Oh yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, unfortunately, if that happens, he won't be able to fight anyone. He'll just spend like 20 days powering up. And by that time, the bad guy's already gone. Zhou Botong, mischievous by nature, never held grudges when people scolded or provoked him. He also didn't take people's love or praise seriously. But if he had the chance to pull a prank on someone, he was thrilled. With his plan in mind, he put on a serious expression and said to Guojing, My dear brother, I've been in this cave for 15 years. Besides the empty hand technique and the double hand combat skills, I've come up with many other techniques. Since we have time, let me slowly teach them to you. Guojing, overjoyed, replied, That would be wonderful. But Ronger mentioned she would eventually get us out. Jobotong interrupted. Has she gotten us out yet? Guojing admitted, Not yet. Jobotong said, So, while you wait for her, you might as well learn some new skills, right? Guojing, excited, said, Absolutely. I'm sure what you'll teach will be amazing. Jobotong chuckled to himself, thinking, You're falling right into my trap. He then began earnestly teaching Guojing some of the fundamental principles from the upper volume of the 9-yin manual. Since Guojing didn't understand, Jobotong patiently explained each concept. Once the basics were covered, Jobotong continued with the techniques described on the piece of skin, explaining each move in detail. He was careful to review each section himself, memorize it, and only then teach it to Guojing, never once letting Guojing look directly at the piece of skin to avoid raising suspicion. Teaching martial arts in this way was unprecedented. He was teaching skills he hadn't practiced himself. He explained each technique verbally and refrained from demonstrating physically. Once Guojing learned a move, Jobotong would use the Chanjin skills to spar with him and test it out, marveling at the profound applications of the 9-yin manual techniques. After several days, he saw this method was working. Guojing was gradually acquiring the manual's abilities, entirely oblivious to the source. Jobotong's heart swelled with delight, and he often laughed out loud, even in his dreams. Over the past few days, Huang Rong had been cooking delicious meals for Guojing, though she never showed herself. Feeling reassured by her presence, Guojing's progress in his training accelerated. That day, Jobotong taught him the method of the 9-yin divine claw, and instructed him to focus his energy, clawing and striking at the stone wall with his fingers. After trying this a few times, Guojing grew suspicious and said, Big brother, I saw Mei Chaofeng practicing this skill too, but she used live people. She would drive her fingers into a living person's skull. It's terribly brutal. Jobotong was taken aback by this and thought, that's it. Mei Chaofeng didn't understand the proper way to practice and saw only the line in the lower volume that says, With force in the fingers, nothing is unbreakable. The enemy's head can be crushed like decayed earth. She didn't realize that crushing the enemy's head meant striking a vital point, not literally piercing the skull. The 9-yin manual is based on Taoist principles of natural harmony meant for self-cultivation and protection, not for practicing such cruel and vicious techniques. That woman really was clueless. Now that Brother Guo has doubts, I can't continue teaching him this technique. Jobotong laughed it off, saying, Mei Chaofeng learned an evil version of this skill, which is vastly different from the proper martial arts I'm teaching you. All right, we won't practice this claw technique. Let's move on to some internal martial arts principles. She was evil for no reason. Nah, she was already evil. There was a reason she interpreted it that way. We can't let her off the hook. While saying this, he had already devised a new plan. I'll teach him the upper volume first. Make sure he's thoroughly familiar with its core methods. Then, when he later encounters the techniques in the lower volume, they'll naturally make sense to him, and he won't suspect anything. So he began reciting the text of the upper volume word for word to Guojing. The passages were profound and abstruse, every word brimming with hidden meaning, making them impossible for Guojing to fully grasp at once, seeing how slow Guojing was in understanding. Jobotong had him repeat each line over and over. After dozens of repetitions, though he couldn't yet comprehend the meaning, Guojing could recite it fluently. With more practice, he committed it to memory. Several days later, Zhou Botong had taught Guojing most of the text, instructing him to remember it carefully and to practice its internal techniques as described. Guojing felt that the internal methods were in line with what Ma Yu had taught him, though even more refined and profound. He thought, since Zhou Botong was Ma Yu's senior uncle, it made sense that his teachings would be more advanced. Remembering how Mei Chaofeng had once asked him for Taoist internal techniques while on his shoulders during their fight at Prince Zhao's residence, it was clear that she knew nothing about this realm, which left him without any doubts. Although Zhou Botong often had a mischievous look on his face, Guojing assumed it was just his nature, having no idea his elder brother was playing a grand prank on him. The final section of the upper volume was over 1,000 words of cryptic incantation-like text that was utterly indecipherable. Zhou Botong, after pondering it countless times in the cave, had never been able to make any sense of it. Oh, okay. So I guess he doesn't get to learn all of it. Or yet, anyways. I'm sure he will later on. Nevertheless, he had Guojing memorize it word for word. When Guojing asked about the meaning of these incantations, Zhou Botong replied, "It's a heavenly secret that can't be revealed. Just memorize it." Learning these 1,000-some meaningless words was hundreds of times harder than the other passages. An intelligent person might have found them impossible to memorize, but Guojing's innate perseverance pushed him through. And after 1,000 repetitions, he finally committed the bizarre text to memory. This is like memorizing all the digits of pi. You gotta memorize it to the 1,000th digit. One morning, after practicing, Guojing opened the food box that the mute servant had brought and saw that one of the buns had a marking to signal a hidden message. Unable to wait, he took the bun into the forest, cracked it open, and found the wax-sealed note inside. With a quick glance, he was struck with panic. The note read, "Brother Jing, the Western Venom has asked my father for my hand in marriage to his nephew. My father has agreed." What? Bum bum bum. Did not expect that. He's the smartest dumb guy. He's just Naruto. He just perseveres. He'll never give up. The message was cut short, as if written in haste before it could be completed. But from the tone, the missing word after agreed was likely to consent. Panicked, Guojing waited until the servant had left with an empty food box and then showed the note to Zhou Botong. Zhou Botong said, "So her father has agreed. Well, it's none of our business." Guojing protested, "This can't be. Rong'er has already pledged herself to me. She must be beside herself with worry." Zhou Botong replied, "Marrying a wife means you'll miss out on lots of great martial arts skills. Such a pity. I often regretted myself, so I wouldn't expect any different from her. Listen to me, my good brother. It's best not to have a wife at all." Guojing found his words increasingly strange and could only grow more anxious. Zhou Botong continued, "If I hadn't lost my virginity, I'd have been able to master a few more of my senior brother's advanced techniques. And then Huang Yaoshi wouldn't have been able to trap me on this island. Look at you. You're just thinking about a wife, and it's already distracting you. Your practice today will surely be a failure. If you really marry Huang Yaoshi's daughter, what a waste. What a waste. Back in the day, well, let's not talk about that. Anyway, if you let a woman cling to you, not only will your martial skills suffer, but you'll let down your friends and fail your senior brother. She'll always be on your mind, and you'll never know where she's been, what she's doing. In short, women's faces are best not seen. Their bodies should be even less touched. If you let her learn acupoint techniques, allowing her to touch your acupoints, then you're in for trouble. Marrying her as a wife? That's an absolute no. This guy, okay. Okay. I know he loves martial arts a lot, but I feel like there's something going on here. He's had an experience, and that's why he doesn't like marrying. He's been burned in the past, guys. I hope we find out what happened. Guojing listened to Zhou Botong's lengthy tirade on the drawbacks of marriage, growing increasingly annoyed. Finally, he said, "Whether I marry her or not, that's a matter for later. Big brother, you need to figure out a way to save her first." Zhou Botong chuckled and replied, "Western Venom is a nasty fellow, so his nephew probably isn't much better. Although Huang Yaoxi's daughter is pretty, she's bound to be as strange and sinister as her father. Letting Western Venom's nephew marry her would be a double misfortune. He'd be miserable, and his martial training would be ruined. Isn't that perfect?" You wonder who hurt him? I want to know. He's so lovable. How can you hurt him? I love him. Guojing sighed, walked into the forest, sat down under a tree, and stared into the distance, lost in thought. Even if I lose my way and die on Peach Blossom Island, I have to find her, he resolved. His mind made up, he leapt to his feet. Just then 2 cries sounded from above, and 2 white shadows swooped down, none other than the pair of white eagles that his sworn brother Tolui had brought from the Mongolian desert. Guojing was overjoyed and stretched out his arm to let the eagles perch. He noticed a bamboo tube tied to the male eagle's foot, which he quickly untied to find a letter from Hong Rong. In it, she explained the dire situation. Western Venom would soon come to formally propose for his nephew. Her father was keeping a strict watch on her, forbidding her from even cooking for Guojing. If there was no way to escape, she would have no choice but to prove her resolve by death. She cautioned Guojing to not try to find her, as the paths on the island were treacherous and filled with traps. He lives in a literal goon cave. Guojing stared blankly at the letter, lost in thought. Then, pulling out his dagger, he carved the words, "Together in life, together in death," onto the bamboo tube, tied it back to the eagle's foot, and sent it northward. Why did they both just kill themselves? And the rest of the book is about Zhou Botong's adventures. I'd read that. Having made up his mind, he felt calm. Sitting down, he focused on his training before joining Zhou Botong to listen to more teachings from the 9 Yin Manual. Over the next 10 days, with no further word from Hong Rong, Guojing had fully memorized the upper volume of the text. Pleased, Zhou Botong suddenly began teaching him various techniques from the lower volume, though without having him practice them to avoid arousing suspicion. Guojing carefully memorized these as well, reciting them hundreds of times until he had committed both volumes to memory, including the strange passage of incantations like Ang Li Na De and Ha Hu Wen Bo Ying. Zhou Botong, observing his diligent efforts, couldn't help but admire him, thinking, "This simple-minded kid's stubborn persistence is beyond even my own. I have to hand it to him." That evening, under a clear moonlit sky, Zhou Botong and Guojing exchanged moves for a while. Zhou noticed that Guojing's martial skills had improved significantly without him even realizing it, proving that the manual's methods were indeed profound. He thought, if he masters all the techniques in the 9 Yin Manual, he might even surpass Huang Yaoxi and Hong Qigong one day. As they sat down to chat, a rustling noise sounded from the distant underbrush. Zhou Botong shouted, "Snakes!" his arch nemesis. Just as he spoke, the sound grew louder, as though a swarm of snakes was approaching. Zhou Botong's face turned pale as he dashed back into the cave. Despite his supreme martial skills, the sound of slithering creatures terrified him to his core. Guo Jing moved several large stones to block the cave entrance and said, "Big brother, let me go check it out. Don't come out." Zhou Botong replied, "Be careful and come back soon. Though, honestly, what's there to see? How could there be so many snakes? I've been on Peach Blossom Island for 15 years and never saw a single one before. Something must be wrong. Huang Yaoshi may boast of his vast skills, but he can't even keep this little island clean, with turtles, lizards, poisonous snakes, and centipedes crawling all over the place." All right. And that's it. Did you guys like that? That was a good chapter. Zhou Botong is a lovable guy. I like him. There's something pure about him. Okay, he just loves martial arts so much. How do turtles and lizards make a place unclean? I guess they poop. Those filthy turtles. Yeah, why can't you clean all the centipedes off the island, huh? Hong Yaoshi? What kind of establishment are you running here? Son of a turtle. Yeah. I think I'm right. I think Zhou Botong was burned in the past, okay? His heart was broken. By who? We don't know, but I hope we find out. The turtles have too many sons. All right. So it looks like Guo Jing is going to be super powerful. He's going to be extra powerful. Okay, he's going to be overpowered. Yeah, and he didn't even learn the entire Nine Yin manual. There's still a section that he doesn't know. So, yeah, once he learns that, then he'll be the number one in the world. Yeah, I want to see that. All right. Well, guys, no wine today, but thanks for joining. I hope you liked it. Tune in next time. Oh, vote. Tomorrow is election day in the US. Vote. Go vote. I already see freaking pictures of long lines. Not where I'm at. Usually in my area, the lines are super short. I never vote in person anyways. I just always vote by mail. But man, some places you have to wait like hours just to vote. Anyways. All right. Good chapter. I think the next chapter is going to be good also. Gonna find out. We're gonna meet freaking the Western Venom, right? Gonna see what he's like. That'll be fun. Maybe we'll even fight him. We'll even attack him, and we'll see who wins. All right, guys. Yeah, Ouyang Feng next time. All right. Thanks for joining. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.